Hello everyone. Here's our presentation on non-special ed students. The process of identifying these students begins with teacher documentation, like the example we provided by Mrs. X. Students who excel in the classroom are tested for a special program called GATE, which stands for Gifted and Talented Education.
Teachers' responsibilities for Student Success Team meetings, also known as SST, include student work samples regarding reading, writing, mathematics, language arts, and mathematics assessment, also including attendance records and evidence of behavioral issues. The California Dropout Prevention Network organized the SST, or Student Success Team, in 2000. It was originally known as the Student Study Team, but was revised to Student Success Team to help schools everywhere identify and implement early intervention processes. A student's team would include the student, his or her parents or guardian, and teachers and school administrators working with the student regularly. The SST then recognizes the student's strengths and areas that he or she can improve and creates a goal-oriented proposal designed to assist the student in reaching their goals in the least restrictive way. Once an intervention has been agreed upon, the Student Success Team will set up the following meetings to see if programs in place have been effective. Different types of non-special education students include mobility impairment, behavioral problems, neurological disorders, psychological conditions, and medical conditions.
Now let's talk about the different types of non-special ed students.
First, there's Jimmy. Jimmy was born with cerebral palsy, or better known as CP. Cerebral palsy can be classified under mobility impairment, medical condition, and neurological impairment. When an infant does not receive enough oxygen to their brain in the womb, they can have a chance of being diagnosed with CP. Some signs or symptoms of CP are seizures, learning disabilities, muscle spasms, and bone deformation.
Then there's Tony. Tony is just like any other second grader. The only issue is that he is very competitive and he does not have good sportsmanship. If it's a game or a math problem, everything is a competition. Tony's teacher and parents are working with him one-on-one to slowly make gestures and heroic efforts to make him a better sport.
Next, we have Amy. Amy has type 1 diabetes. At school, she has to regularly check her glucose levels, which is the main type of sugar in blood. If the level of sugar in Amy's bloodstream gets too high, she has to take insulin shots to bring them back to normal.
We also have Bobby. When Bobby was 4, he was taken out of his home and put into foster care. Because of this, Bobby has emotional distress and anxiety. Bobby frequently has panic attacks, but with the support from his peers and teachers, he is able to learn coping skills and be like the rest of his classmates.
Lastly, we have Lily. Lily's parents notice that she keeps mixing up her B's and D's. After taking her to her doctor, she was diagnosed with dyslexia. Because of this, it is hard for Lily to understand phonemic awareness, phonics, and rapid word recognition.
Now that we have introduced the non-special ed students in the classroom, let's talk about how we can accommodate them.
The 504 Plan is part of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. It's a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination towards anyone with a disability or impairment. This law is mandatory in every school district. The 504 Plan's goal is to come up with accommodations that a struggling student will need to have the same opportunities and perform at the same level and pace as their peers. The law states that no one with a disability can be excluded from participating in a federally funded program or activity of their school. To qualify, a person must be between the ages of 3 and 22 and have a disability or impairment that hinders their learning in a classroom. These disabilities can include physical impairments, illnesses or injuries, communicable diseases, asthma, allergies, diabetes, and learning problems such as ADHD. Examples of accommodations used to help these students in a school environment could be blood sugar monitoring if the student has diabetes, wheelchair ramps wherever necessary, home instruction, peanut-free lunch environments, etc.
When the 504 plan meeting takes place, the people present are the teacher, the psychologist, the administrator, the parent, the student, and the nurse. Accommodations are brought up by the requesting party, which is usually the parents of the student in need, and the administrator either agrees or disagrees with the proposals. The 504 plan's main purpose is to support the student, but it also serves as a liability guideline for the school. As when I participated in a 504 plan for my niece, she has type 1 diabetes, and they discussed everything that the school was able to and not able to do for her. One of the things that they did not agree with was if any field trips take place, us as a family, we have to provide someone to go with her on the field trips since there isn't a nurse that is allowed to go with her on field trips. If we send someone that doesn't speak English and is only going to be taking care of her, then we have to pay for that family member to be able to participate and for my niece to be able to be part of the school as well.
For all you future teachers out there, this is a 3-page document used during the 504 meeting. All the areas of concern are noted and accommodations that will be set in place are examined. The alterations are not meeting the students' needs, adjustments will be made. At the end of the meeting, everybody present must sign the document agreeing with everything that has been discussed. Then the plan is kept in the student's file for future reference. Once time has passed and the 504 plan has been reviewed, you can state on the form if there's any modifications, adjustments, or health concerns that will be noticed. If the plan needs to be rewritten, everybody will meet up and reassess the student.
In conclusion, we have discussed that students who have mobility impairment, behavioral problems, moderate neurological disorders, psychological disorders, and some medical conditions do not qualify as special ed students and are in regular classroom environment. We hope that through this video, this will help you in the future once you are in the classroom to identify the non-special ed students.